if that camera got turned on, that little red light comes on and the guest starts freaking out, which often happens, and the guest starts answering in a really closed manner, which often happens, right? How are you? Good. What was your favorite thing that you did today? And it's just, I got coffee. It's like single line. How would you kind of like get more out of them? Did you have any techniques that you did that?
This just happened with a CFO that I was training, and CFOs are notoriously a bit more
Closed off.
bland.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're numbers people. They're their best self, like kind of in their office, going through spreadsheets. They feel really confident in that. And then all of a sudden, they're thrown onto a Zoom call with this lady who's asking them all these questions. And I was going through our process and how we get there. And I knew this was going to be harder. And I would ask him more specific questions. So instead of, what do you think you do differently than other leaders? And it was like, I feel like I try and make the numbers a story. That was it. And I was like, okay, then what is it that like really lights you up about the numbers? So I shift from give me an answer to light up his brain. Where can I get that mind to light up? It's like, what's really exciting about these numbers? And little by little by little, it was about 22 minutes in that I said to him, I want you to watch our session at minute 1 and then at minute 22 and start noticing your facial expressions, your tone, and the length of your connection with me, which was more than 3 words. It was like full sentences and maybe 1 or 2 sentences. And I said, what changed? And he's like, well, you kind of got me from, am I saying the right thing and what she wants to hear to, oh, I'm interested in this conversation and I kind of want to engage in it. So I think of it as a communicator, it's almost more important asking the questions than answering them. And the best communicators are super intentional, which means you make someone feel like they're the only person in the room. And that is what I discuss as the definition of the it factor. It's kind of like what makes that it factor in someone. And I define it as intentionality. That's the I. And the T is that trust transfer. Am I able, with my words and my presence and my energy, able to transfer information to you that allows you to trust me? And that has to happen in a very short period of time. Again, this is backed by research, but it's within the first 30 seconds that people decide whether or not they're going to continue to pay attention to a speaker. 30 seconds. And by 2 minutes, they've pretty much checked out if they've decided at that 30 seconds. And this is, we know, proven by social media companies becoming billion-dollar industries, right? The swipe. They decide within a few seconds if they're going to stop, and then within 30 seconds if they're going to continue, which is why you have to say what you're going to say in those first 30 seconds and make it super powerful, which is also how we teach people to speak in sound bites. And if you are communicating, typically executives, I use the analogy of mountain climbing. So think of it as you're starting at the bottom of the mountain and you are like, hey, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. This is going to be an awesome conversation. I've got a lot to get to. By then, people have already checked out. Begin communicating from the top of the mountain. Say something really amazing. Back it up with something. Then land the plane. Then jump to the next mountain. Then jump to the next mountain. And then there's no more mountains to jump to. So you got to land the plane or just stay there. Stop. That's how you stop yourself from rambling. It's a new way of thinking about communication that's organized rather than just winging it. And the winging it makes you ineffective. Then your brain bully is feeding your mind, this sucks. You're terrible. This is awful. It's just incredible.
Have you heard of mirroring?
Mirroring. Describe it for me because I think I know what it means.
So you would have definitely, I think you would have definitely used it. But I remember I had a hostage negotiator on the podcast.
Oh,
Super,
cool. You have such cool guests. Now my brain bully's like, why am I on this?
But no, she was really incredible, and some of the stories she was saying were just wild. But she was saying a really great communication strategy that you can use, especially if you're nervous and don't know what to ask, is just mirror the last few words of what the person has said. So they might go, I had a bad day today. And you go, you had a bad day? And then they go, yeah, well, this happened. I broke up with my girlfriend and I did this. And then you go, you broke up with your girlfriend? Oh yeah, well it was, and then they just keep going. And I found it, honestly, because I'm also dating now. So you get really nervous before you date. And then I found it so
Yes.
effective for just opening up the scope of the conversation, because you end up getting so much more information than you would have just a straight question.
And it takes the awkwardness out of the next question.
Mhm.
And it doesn't make them feel like you're asking them or drilling them questions because you're just giving them permission to continue talking. So now I understand why I know this concept. One of my dear friends is Phil Houston. Phil Houston is a former CIA interrogator. He interrogated like Osama bin Laden's right hand man. He is one of the
Wow.
most incredible. He should be on your podcast. We'll talk about that after. He wrote the book Spy the Lie. And one of his strategies is repeating what the person just said because he has the proven model to get and detect deception. And now corporations hire him and they have him in the interview process and they can tell whether or not somebody is lying in their interview. And it's brilliant.
Wow.
Get the book, Spy the Lie. You'll use it in your relationships. You'll use it in dating to find out whether or not somebody's being authentic about what it is that they're pretending to be. But
Mm.
mirroring is absolutely an effective technique to get the conversation meatier and to get somebody to open up a little bit further. And now that you say that, I might not say the same phrase as them, but I think the reason that our coaching is so effective is because we're using questions or phrases like, where do you think that comes from? Or how did that land for you? That allows them to not feel like they're answering a question, but they go deeper than they
Yeah.
normally would. And then inevitably, it goes back to something many times in childhood that they carry into the boardroom. And it was interesting. I ended up writing a children's book about fear because I thought if this is happening at the highest levels of executives, I wanted to be able to give tools that I train executives on in the classroom, not the boardroom. And so this children's book is called Just Keep Going. And it gives kids the tools when you are scared or when you are frustrated or when you are, worried that you're going to fail. Put one foot in front of the other, visualize what you want, jump up and down. Because we do physical techniques to get our nerves ready.
Mm.
And we found children we've sold almost 10,000 copies of this book. Kids are so connected to it. And I have so many people that just send me videos of their kids that are like, I'm going to just keep going. I mean, it just I brings tears to my eyes because my goal is to raise an irreplaceable leader. And so that when
Mm.
I'm getting an executive in front of me, they have these strategies already because it's unbelievable how consistent it is for executives that they struggle with this.
If you guys enjoyed that clip, please do me a huge favor before you go and head over to our Into the Mind podcast official page where we have the raw, uncut Into the Mind podcast and hit that subscribe button. And the more subscribers we get, the more incredible guests we can get on the show. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all real soon.